I think before we even begin, I'm so happy that you are wearing the beanies. Dan Koda, please tell us what, because I mean, I don't know why the beanies. I know there was one beanie, then all of a sudden there's many beanies. Then when I watch your videos, my head itches. Because you know when your head gets hot, then you have that thing where you want to, like when I watch you, my head itches because I feel your discomfort. So tell me about the beanies first.
Well, there are now people. Okay, so firstly, I get horrific abuse online if I don't wear them.
Okay, so
like
now
it's a personal problem.
yes.
Just because of the way you look, or because they've become used to the beanies?
No, it's because it's probably a bit of both. Although some of my worst haters think that I'm balding and I'm covering it up. Thankfully, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
But So the beanies just happened because last year I was trying to figure out a way to do something which stopped South Africans from becoming used to load shedding. So it wasn't a Kumbaya Zuma must fall white boy protest. But it was like how can I make a visual representation of how we are load shed all the time? And so I just thought, let me shave bald at the beginning of the year. I did it live on the first show back of the year.
I listened to that show.
Did you?
Yes. I was counting down, bruh. I was waiting for the taste. I was like, this bruh must be looking like an animal.
No, I look terrible. And then I just said, I'm not going to cut my hair again until there's a full week, 7 full days for the whole country with power on. So no load shedding.
I saw the end of that.
Yeah.
And then did you make the 7? Because it was like 4 hours short of 7 days or something.
There was one
crazy.
day when it got to 2 hours and then Eskom just middle fingered me hard. And it was funny because I called the Eskom spokesperson and I was like, please. On air, I was like, please. Just
please,
because
for me.
My girlfriend put up a brave face initially, but after a while it was cold at home, guys. Because my hair was growing out. The thing that I think many of us men don't realize is you need the maintenance.
Yeah.
Because if your hair's growing out the same length in every direction, you look so cut.
No.
So like my hair on the side was going, and I looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, especially with the beanies after a while. And then thank the Lord above for the Springboks, because Eskom was like, the World Cup final is here.
Yeah.
Let's give South Africa 7 days of uninterrupted power. I think more in case the Boks lost the final of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Because maybe from a government perspective, they were like, we can't have load shedding and lose the World Cup
and
final.
the loss.
So I got to cut my hair the day before the World Cup final. And so now I'm back. But so the long and the short of it is, then I was on TikTok about 3 months into this, and I was trying to shoot a video, and I kept looking at myself and being like, you fucking degenerate. Like, you look
like you look homeless. You look like the son of Hagrid, you know?
So I put the beanie on because I was like, I just can't. And then in the comments, people realized that between each take, I'd readjusted it as like a nervous performance take.
Yes.
So then I was like, well, this is a great way to get comments. And then I added another and then a third. And now there are people who watch the videos, especially the YouTube episodes, and they don't comment on the content. They count the number of beanie changes.
Okay.
There's like a mythology around, and then also people are very funny because they realized I was doing something before I realized. But the one commenter was like, "Yo, Dan hasn't changed his beanies once this video, so you know it's a serious topic."
Yo.
And then I realized, I do that. I don't switch the beanies if it's
So
heavy.
if it's serious,
then I'm
because when it's serious, then you're actually focusing on what
of course
on what you enjoy. So before we get into what you enjoy. We don't have a lot of beanies. No, we really don't. So we didn't do a run. We you know when you go send us samples. Then they sent us samples, but Nicholas and I have huge heads.
Enormous.
And then this
Bigger
was
than they look.
so this one, it hasn't even been washed. It's used.
Let me put it on.
It's used, but it belongs to Kate's son George.
Oh,
We just
amazing.
take some of the dogs here off there as well. It belongs to Kate's son George, and it still smells of George, but we have George's permission to gift you with one of 3 samples ever made in history.
Wow.
Goliath and Goliath beanie.
Amazing. Well, I've also got a huge head. So let me first prove that I'm not going bald. Cool shot.
Full head of hair.
And now let me see.
Yes,
if this
get
will
some
actually-
George on your hair.
Oh,
Okay.
Amazing.
no, look at it.
Actually,
The real Slim Shady back in town. Just switch like that.
I'll keep it on for as long as I can.
Actually,
Okay. It's a little tight. 'cause
It's
I've
gonna
got a
cut
fluid
off the
corp-
blood flow.
No, now you know why I've never worn one. I've never been able to wear one.
I'll keep it on for 5 minutes and then I'll breathe.
We'll take it.
No,
We'll
do
take
what
it.
you
Even if you
wanna
don't
do.
wear it, we just wanted to make sure that you
Thank you,
are in
guys.
fact in possession and to add to your collection. A
very
very
kind.
unique, very limited edition. Very limited.
I'm gonna sell this for like 10 rand in 20
Done.
years time.
And remember, it was stolen from a child.
Yeah.
So it's not just we took this out of a child's drawer. It literally it comes from a child's
And winter
drawer.
is coming. It's going to be freezing
Yes.
in winter.
No, he is, but he'll survive and he'll know.
Sorry
The
to
great,
George.
the great Dan Corder is now wearing my thing. Nick, Start us. Go. Lead us.
I think a nice place to start is just to find out who you are. Who is Dan Corder, and why are you here?
So I was born and raised in Cape Town. Although when people say where you're from, I usually actually just say upper campus at UCT. Because both of my parents are very serious academics.
Yes.
And my dad was the dean at law at UCT at a long time. My mother is just like an extraordinary academic researcher and writer. So I was raised in this wild household where like the intellectual bar was so high.
Yeah.
Like I vividly remember. And this was recent, guys. This was like 3 years ago. You know, family dinner on a Sunday. No lekker. How was your week? Chilling. There's a braai on. And my mother and brother had a huge fight about third versus fourth wave feminism. And I was like, well, this is my family. This
So that's a family.
Sunday dinner. Classic. Like normal.
Can I ask what is the difference between third versus fourth wave? Because
By-
I thought there was just one wave.
By the end of that,
feminism.
I still don't really know. I can tell you the difference
Okay.
between first, second, and third. I don't know about
No,
fourth.
but because he said it was an argument. It wasn't a debate or a conversation. It was an argument about no, actually. Because you must know academics, they love to outquote each other.
Yeah.
They love outquoting each other. And I love seeing an academic's brain get hot. Because their brains get hot, especially with comedians, because I love arguing with academics because comedians have no problem mixing fact and fiction.
Totally.
They have no problem.
And then you see it in their eyes, hey?
Yes.
Behind the pupils, there's like a...
Then there's a
Do
buzz.
that buzz.
Because we I believe are like AI. Somebody said something so interesting to me about AI the other day. They said, be careful with AI because AI is not programmed to be truthful as its number one priority.
Right.
It's programmed to be convincing
To please, yeah.
as its number one priority.
Oh, so we are.
Yes. So if you 100%. So if you're getting AI to do your homework, it's not trying to be factual first.
Totally.
It's first trying to sound convincing, and that's what comedians do all the time. We can bullshit about anything.
There are
and
people who
everything.
believe I know a lot more than I actually know.
We thought you believed a lot more or knew a lot more than you did, and then we had you on the show and we discovered the truth.
No. I have matric, bro. I have matric.
He is as dumb as he looks. Very rare. Very rare combo. Very rare combo. We interrupted you. So
No, it's
you
fine.
come from a house of academia.
Yeah, and just to understand, like contextualize it, like my family's idea of like a family holidays, we would go on road trips once a year across South Africa.
Yeah.
But the road trip, courtesy of my mother, would have a theme.
Oh, yes.
So it would be like fossils of South Africa. And then we would drive across the country and we'd look at rocks. And then my mother would tell us many things. And if we didn't take them in like a class test, we'd be in trouble. Another year we did battlefields of South Africa. Another year we did just rock formations. So that was like my upbringing. Went to Westwood High School in Cape Town. Ended up going to UCT. It felt a little bit like grade 13 because Westerford, like literally 96% of the graduates of the matriculants go to UCT.
Okay.
So then I actually went to Rhodes for 6 months at the second half of first year. Lost myself, found a new version. Very happy about it.
Nice.
Then I went back to UCT. I did a ton of debating in university because I found university fairly boring, but that was just because I didn't find what I liked and what I was interested in, my passions. And also because at a certain level of debating, the university start giving you money to fly around the world to compete in debating tournaments.
Yeah.
So I got to travel on other people's dime for debating.
What a pleasure.
And then this one day, I was going into third year. I was really bored, and I was trying to get people to sign up to the debating union. And someone came up to me and said, "Well, you need signups. I need signups. Sign up for my thing, and I'll sign up for yours." I said, "Sure." Didn't even really process what it was.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I woke up. There was 1,000 rand missing from my student account, which was the sign-up fee to UCT Radio. So now I was broke. I couldn't jaw. So I thought, "Fuck, let me go to this damn society." Because I got no money to do anything else.
$20,000 for it.
And I didn't even listen to radio. I couldn't tell you who was on air. I didn't listen to it at all. But then I arrived at UCT Radio and it was instantly way more fun than lectures. Like it was literally that simple.
Yeah.
So I did that. Rhodes Must Fall happened while I was on air. So then I had a talk show. So I became the person who interviewed the four lists basically. And then people would listen to that. Good Up FM called me and literally said, "We love what you do on air, but we don't want any of it. So we want to bring you, but none of your content. You must now become a commercial music DJ."
person.
So I'm Good Up for 6-7 years. And then 2020, heights of COVID level 5. lockdown, 5FM called me, and in my world, as like a white boy growing up in South Africa, getting called by 5 is like the Springboks.
That's exactly it.
You just
there's
say
no
yes
other.
instantly.
Even if your phone is on silent, it rings. When 5FM phones, even on silent, it rings.
And I was supposed to, I got into this dream academic program. My parents were so happy. I got into this dream academic program in the States. I was going to do that. And then 5 called. And people were like, oh, did you think about it? It didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
Went
There's
to
nothing
5,
to think about.
Moved to Johannesburg during COVID. Always wanted to live in Johannesburg. Still here. We've just been renewed for year 4 at 5. And then about a year ago, I started posting TikToks because my girlfriend told me to. And 6 months after that, suddenly people were watching my rugby videos and knew me as this beanie guy.
Yeah.
And then 6 months ago, we started The Issue, which is the kind of like politics commentary humor show. My best attempt at whatever late night American television is. And now we're here. So that's the Spark Notes.
You say it very casually, but we're not just here. I think you are the next. We've had the honor of having David O'Sullivan on the podcast. And I haven't told David this yet, but I think that you are David O'Sullivan. Let me say it. You're the love child of David O'Sullivan and Trevor Noah.
Jeez, that's a very huge compliment, brother.
No, because David
I need to
is,
give you a chance to retract.
No, David is unbelievable, but David does the politics as well as you do.
I see.
But he doesn't bring politics and humor into one place.
Okay.
And for me, the time that David was the voice of South Africa wasn't the funniest time. I think South Africans now are so used to humor in their content that we crave it, need it. And I think to take somebody like Nicholas, like myself, who are not interested in politics at all, and make it not only interesting but understanding is nearly impossible, particularly nearly impossible if you're a white dude in South Africa. Because there's just objectives. As soon as you start certain topics, our brains wanna shut down. But your perspectives are so on point that I have to ask you, do politics make you happy?
Well, that's incredibly kind. I think it's overly generous.
No, it's facts.
But
Just believe in yourself then. We believe in you. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that's really kind. So politics does make me really happy. But I've got this thing that some people don't understand about me, where I experience casual delight all the time, joy all the time. And like my parents instilled in me almost the character trait of being delighted by knowledge. So like I'm a deeply curious person. So I wake up every single morning, even sometimes I'm almost a little bit late for the radio show because I just start reading. And I'm not one of those people who's going to tell you that you should read instead of video or read instead of listen. But what I will tell you is you can absorb information faster when you read than any other medium.
Are we?
Because we have been trained since child to be able to read fast and gather lots of information. So I read for like 2 hours every morning. And there's like a bunch of news sites that I always read.
You read for 2 hours before the show?
Maybe an hour and a half before
That's
the
why he's
show.
so
every
good
morning.
at the show.
Okay.
Because
Yes, no.
many words going in, many words coming out.
No, I did breakfast, but I couldn't wake up for the show. Never mind. Wake up just to read when nobody's paying me.
But I just love reading about all kinds of things, and I get delight from learning interesting new things. And so I'm the guy, Shay, my poor girlfriend, I'll go to and I'll be like, Jessie, I have 9 things to tell you. I know you just woke up and I know you don't care about scorpion fish in the Great Barrier Reef, but I'm going to tell you like about it because I read about it. And I also, I love South African politics and current affairs. And so I do get enormous happiness from the work that I do on the show.
So here's my question. We don't understand politics because we don't like politics. And for me, like, politics is the reason I don't watch the news, because it's just sad. Like every time I think about politics, I just feel like we're helpless. Like it's all in the politicians' hands. And then how do you derive happiness from that? Is it from the politics itself, or is it more from educating people about the politics?
I think in a very selfish way, it's like trying to make more people care about what I care about. So like when I see politics happening and I see politicians doing things, I think that is awful. I wish that this wasn't the case. But then I think that in a democracy, if the politicians have managed to convince us that we can't do anything about it, then they've won, guys. They're going to keep getting re-elected. They're going to keep having all the power, and the country's going to keep going the way that we don't want it to be going. And then in a very selfish way, I want to be able to walk up to my mates and say, did you see what fucking Fikile Mbalula just did?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they all go, we have no idea who
And like
that
even
is.
a year ago, I would not be able to talk to my mates about that. But best believe my mates would know about American and British politics. And I think to myself, But why? You're not voting
You're
for
not
them.
there.
Exactly.
Like, they aren't taking away your abortion
Yeah.
rights.
Yeah.
You should know about what's happening on the 29th of May, 2024. But more than that, you said this just now. South Africa, we're obsessed with entertaining content because, and I have said this before on record, and I'm not being overly, I think, expansive here or like taking liberties. I think we're the funniest country on earth.
By far.
Because
Hands down.
we've got the most diversity, the most complicated history, and the largest reason to find joy and hope in difficult circumstances. And so all South Africans are funny. We know how to be funny.
Yeah.
And so, like, if the best way to get people engaged, including myself, because you do get dispirited and hopeless and miserable, and you don't want to listen to Tabo's news every morning because it's sad. It's like bad news. But if you figure out a way to find the humor, not by laughing at, say, the awful crime, but laughing about the conditions of it or what happened or whatever,
100%.
suddenly people can digest that information, take it seriously, but also not hate themselves for taking it in.
I got paid I think one of the best compliments in the last 2 years, something that just, seated with me, and I'm going to pay you that compliment. And the compliment was, the reason I love you is you don't take yourself very seriously, but you take what you do incredibly seriously.
Right.
So I enjoy watching you because you don't take yourself seriously, but you take South African politics so seriously. And when I say so seriously, a lot of people think seriously means you are obsessed with just your perspective. But I don't hear you just trying to make me interested in what you enjoy. I hear you speak for all voices. And I hear you, so like for me, in my understanding of democracy, if somebody truly wants to understand the political landscape, I feel like your pages, your content, your podcast, your TikTok account, your radio show, I feel like any South African who's remotely interested or obsessed with politics, that's where you should start. It's like we're in a space where it's so difficult to filter out all the bullshit. It's so difficult to get down to the point, and everybody's biased and everybody's speaking to, have their objectives lead and have them benefit at the end. Where for you, I feel like you're the new voice of South Africa for South Africans. No, bro, I'm going to keep saying these things.
No, look, I agree with you, but I understand certain politics of South Africa. Then I'm like, that nobody wants Dan to be the new voice of South Africa. Like,
I don't want to be the voice of South Africa.
Yeah, but whether you like it or not, it is happening.
yeah.
The most important thing that you said outside of politics was the fact that how did you articulate it? You find joy in small things. You find joy
casual delight.
So unpack casual delight for us, and where does that come from?
So I've been thinking a lot about what happiness is because of this awesome show concept, and I must say it's awesome. I watched Tats and Konzo one top to tail, and I resonate a lot with that episode because I am a workaholic. And fortunately, so is my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So we're a perfect match.
Wonderful.
But like, I'm an absolute workaholic. And I liked what you guys also said about how that line, it's like nonsense, this like, do what you love and you'll never work again. No, you work damn hard.
Yeah.
But
Extra.
you get fulfillment from the work. That is the blessing. But you still work incredibly, incredibly hard.
Not just money.
Yeah.
Fulfillment.
Yes.
But I do think that like happiness is different for different people because I kind of really do believe in different character types. They're just different kinds of people.
Fact.
And I'm one of those people who's extremely blessed in that I just find joy a lot. So like if somebody says something funny, I will laugh. If somebody says something interesting, I will go, wow, that's awesome. And then I'll spend 10 minutes thinking about it, but I'll feel really happy doing it. And so I just think I'm really lucky to have that kind of like, maybe not jadedness, but like also maybe just like I just get thrilled by new knowledge, and it's hard to say any more than that.
So, do you think it's something? Because you said it's your mom planned all the holidays.
Yeah.
So, is it something that was instilled from your parents in
for sure.
just finding the joy in every little opportunity?
Totally. And it specifically came from my mother because my mother's kind of approach to life was kind of like you can make all kinds of moments rich if you just come at it with this like hunger for knowledge, this curiosity, and this willingness to like feel delighted.
Yeah.
And she's incredible at that. Like if you just spend time with my mother, you will learn the most fascinating things all the time.
Shout out.
So yeah, Catherine Corder, she's the one.
Shout
Your
out.
mother sounds like my wife.
Auntie Kathy. Auntie Kathy.
Can I tell you a story? My mother, this is just amazing. She goes through a new obsession basically every 6 months to a year, and it'll take over her whole life. So like the fossils I said earlier, the battlefields, whatever. So I think it's nearly 2 years ago now, she was, going through her daily life. And then I think she read in a book about like sea life, something called a nudibranch. And she didn't know what a nudibranch was.
Okay.
So the spiral begins.
Yeah.
And she
Figure
knows
out what a
everything about
nudibranch.
nudibranchs. Essentially, it's a dope-looking sea slug,
Okay.
right? And they're
Okay.
all over the place, but people don't really
Yeah.
know what it is. So my mother's life mission now is to see a nudibranch. So she learns to free dive. So now she's learned how to free dive. She's like mid-50s white woman, with the wetsuit and the graying hair and like going into the water like a crazy person. She doesn't see a nudibranch for months and she's getting so frustrated. And then eventually the one day she has harassed the aquarium at Cape Town so much that they all have her number.
Yeah.
And so a nudibranch comes in on a
They're
piece
like,
of kelp. They call
"Come
her.
in."
Catherine's there. She's looking at the nudibranch. And now she's one of these legendary free divers in Cape Town because she's got this Instagram account because she takes amazing underwater photography of all of these nudibranchs that she sees. And she's the kind of person where you say, I want to see an octopus. And she says, which one?
Yeah.
And she knows. And she's like, well, if you come on a Wednesday, this one's going to be there so we can go see it. She's like one of those. And it's just because she gets this joy.
Obsessed.
She just gets this fulfillment. It's amazing.
It's so. I wish that everybody could understand that. So my wish is that everybody can understand what your mom seems to know is that you don't need a lot of things, and you don't need permission, and you don't need everybody to like what you like and what you're interested in, but what you do need is I think number one, and we've been trying to figure out what are these ingredients to happiness. So purpose. And you can create purpose. So like we're very lucky, I think the three of us, because we find a lot of purpose in our work. We find a lot of purpose in what we do. A lot of purpose in entertaining these audiences. I think a lot of people naturally find purpose just in like parenting, for example. Which is why I'm not having a kid because I feel like I have my purpose somewhere else and I don't have to have a kid for purpose. But you can find purpose in a nudibranch. What is it called?
A nudibranch.
A nudibranch.
And they're beautiful, by the way.
I'm sure they are. But you because passion and excitement, it's a contagious thing. I don't give a fuck about a sea slug. All of a sudden, nudibranch. And as a comedian now, what is this nude slug? Why is this?
And it's a slug. That's nude.
Aren't all slugs nude? Because slugs are just nude snails. That's what they are.
By the way, nudibranchs are wild. Nudibranchs do like these like asexual conga line procreation things, and you can go and see them in like a rock pool. You can just go ask my mother. You'll see them. They are multicolored. They're purples and yellows and whatever. My mother would be so upset if I gave out her Instagram account, so I won't. But I'll show you after.
She doesn't want people to follow. Because I was going to say, can we not go and follow for these pictures?
Well,
so it's like her personal thing.
No. It's for the people who know, but she doesn't handle. Shame, I shouldn't have spoken about it.
Yeah, no,
sorry. Okay, sorry, Auntie Kathy.
No, it's fine.
No, we move on.
She'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's what they look like.
Go search Auntie Kathy. Okay, that is
nudibranch photographer.
Nudibranch looks like how you feel when you take tuk for the first time. I don't know. I've never tried it.
Not the second time.
No, the
first time.
I've never tried it. But word on the street.
Yeah.
Word on the street.
What I love about that story is that the nudibranch was the goal. But the cost of getting to the goal was learning how to free dive, going through that whole process. And what I find is a lot of people know what they want, but they're not willing to go through the steps to get to the... They're like, I want to see a nudibranch, but I'm going to wait till they bring one into the aquarium.
Sure.
Because why should I go free dive? That's a whole process. So I love that mentality of understanding what you want and knowing what the cost is to get what you want.
I also think that sometimes what you want is on the way. It's not where you are.
Yeah, for sure.
So for example, your mom never learns to free dive, never has this amazing Instagram account that has all this underwater photography if she never got obsessed with a nudibranch.
Totally.
Not because she wanted to free dive.
And
you know what I mean? Free diving wasn't on the list.
Yeah, and it's funny because like she only has those photos because she wanted to show us what a nudibranch looked like. But she didn't go buy an underwater camera. She got a Ziploc bag and a phone. She's underwater.
And how many people are going, no, I can't do these things because I don't have the right equipment. I can't do.
Sure.
And you're missing out on your happiness. You're missing out on an experience that you haven't had, and you don't know how much happiness it's going to bring you. And for me, that's one of the biggest things. It's just being open-minded and prepared to go and experience new things.
And then it comes with community, right?
Yes.
Because now she's part of this super troop of like crazy old women
Yes.
who like go out to the beach every
Obsessed.
single day. And my dad will be like, your things are tough at home. And I'm like, why? And he's like, the weather's been bad. Your mum's not been in the sea for 3 days. I'm having a tough time.
Understands that sentence, right? Hey,
your
this
dad-
weather doesn't change.
Your dad was the dean of law. And
Yeah, yeah.
also, how does a normal man then get to fight and argue if the dean of law is going, the weather,
No, dude.
guys.
You know, they go on holiday and my dad sits with the other husbands on the beach
Yeah.
and just talks and watches the women go and discover the most amazing things underwater.
But
Listen.
he's also got his own community now. That's wonderful.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah.
How do mom and dad as academics feel about? I mean, not as boring as you going into radio, but how do they feel about your content now? And how do they feel about the narrative that you drive?
So my parents are very happy with what I'm doing. They were not sure about radio because they didn't know how well it was going to pay.
Because they're clever.
Yeah. But also like radio is such a closed industry, and even if you make it into the less than I think 1,000 people who do it at a professional level, like you still only a very few jobs pay well. And so when you start in radio, you're not making good money, and there's no guarantee it's going to go anywhere.
No. Yeah. And it could end at any time.
Yeah.
So
You
radio's
never know
exactly
during your
like
last show.
comedy.
Yeah.
And so such a funny conversation. I just completed my degree and I had done 6 months of UCT radio, and I was like, guys, I said to my parents in December, I was like, I think I'm gonna pursue radio. And then they said, what are you gonna study next year? And I said, probably nothing, and they laughed. So then I signed up for postgrad. Immediately. They just laughed. I was in fact
You're
practicing.
gonna learn.
I'll never forget.
I love their laugh signifies, so you want to ruin Sunday dinners. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. You want to break our family thing. Okay.
But they obviously have a degree of parental worry, and I'm sure that all parents have a degree of worry when your child is a performer.
Yeah.
Because you're going up on stage, you're exposing yourself, you're making yourself beholden to a degree to the public's opinion of you, and things could go wrong, and they're stressed, and also shame. I need to be disciplined to not give away the family secrets on the radio to a million people. So all those kinds of normal anxieties. But I think that they are very proud of what I'm doing now, because my parents are like those, the purpose of life is to seek justice and make the world a better place kind of parents. So I'm not going to say that they were in the struggle, because white people it's not the same. Like you can stand against apartheid and do what you needed to do, and you could contribute to the cause, but you were not in the struggle. But like my mother went from being the head girl of Rustenburg High School at the age of 18, which is like a proper Model C school, to like barefoot on the side of Mowbray Main Road with a sign that was anti-apartheid like a month later. And then my father was involved in a bunch of, of like the legal side of like undoing apartheid. And so me growing up, it was always like, but are you making the world a better place? Are you seeking justice and fairness? And so I think that whether they agree with all of my opinions or not, or my narratives, I think that they think I'm doing good work that is helping. Yeah.
Was there a lot of pressure from your parents, being both very academic?
Yeah.
Like, did you...
Your report card day must be a different
Actually, not at all. They were amazing. Like maybe my other siblings will disagree. I'm the eldest of 5, but like I didn't feel any real look. Like A's were non-negotiable. You had to work really hard on your books. You had to be really good, and you had to go to university. But
I didn't feel any real pressure. I mean, A's were non-negotiable, but personally, I didn't feel.
The only A's in my reports were in my name and my surname. Like, those were the only A's my parents ever saw on my report
But
card.
my parents had an interesting perspective, because they were saying like Dan, you are so privileged. Yes, wealth, yes, whiteness, yes, maleness, all the things. But like you've grown up in a family where your parents, like their life job has been to be paid to know things, understand things. Therefore, the least you can do is execute on this blessing.
Our definitions of no pressure are very different.
Very, very different.
But when I went to university, they were great, because I was dicking around in like a BA. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And they were very receptive to that. I also did law in my dad's law faculty, whatever, for like 6 weeks. And then after the first test, I was like, I don't need to see the result. And I dropped out of law. And my dad was great. He was like, I'm glad that you dropped out. And I said, yeah, say more. And he said, because you don't care about this. Like you don't care about this. Of course you're not going to do well. like, go do something else. Maybe later you'll care about this enough to actually do it, but you don't care about this. And I think that all they really want for their children, and they've said as much, is like happy life, financial security, get on with it.
Please, will you give your parents a big hug from me?
Okay.
Because and because a lot of parents don't see that. And I know so many people who are forced into careers because of the parents' status or whatever. And especially when your parents are doing well in life, there's the expectation. And I think it's a dangerous thing as a parent to go, no, do what makes you happy. You've got to do that knowing that you've put down the proper foundation
Totally.
before you can allow that type of thinking. Because otherwise they can go, nah, I just want to play FIFA forever.
Is it not counterintuitive? Because I think for us, it's easy to assume that having parents that are, academics and involved in those faculties, that now home is the same as a lecture hall. But counterintuitive in the sense that those parents are exposed to kids. They're exposed to kids that are influenced by the wrong parents. They're exposed to what happens when you're doing something you're not supposed to. So your parents, I think, have far more perspective than just an actual lawyer, somebody who works for a firm and doesn't see kids.
Totally. I mean, like my father was obviously, like, he's now like a professor emeritus, which is cuck fancy.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a Latin word I don't know
One
the meaning
is
of.
emeritus. And then you put a emeritus.
Bishop. Emeritus. Because he was also emeritus, the arch.
But he like, his job for many years was student comes and says, I'm failing, I don't know what to do. Student comes for many years and says, like, I don't know if I'm happy doing this, or I don't have the money. And my mother, as well as like being the mother of 5 children, which is a big job, she also lectured, and she also taught those kind of like enrichment classes in schools for like grade 9s and 10s, like exposed to lateral thinking and wider mind and whatever. So you're absolutely right. They've spent a hell of a lot of time thinking about how young people are handling trying to become adults.
So it's more a blessing than a curse.
I think so.
Because from the outside, it's easy to assume, ooh, he's strict in class, they must be strict at home. But I think it's there are definitely advantages.
But it's what you said about the access that they have to kids.
100%.
For someone in just
doesn't
they
experience
don't see that.
the light is in that way. So now
agree
we've
with that.
spoken about a lot of things, but there are very important things that we need to speak of. Who slid into whose DMs? Because I know there was a sliding of DMs, and I know that brought happiness. Because both you and your Cherry are there. You guys look so in love. Like, my wife and I are an example of love online.
Okay.
You guys are goals for us, and you guys are not even married. So who slid into whose DMs?
Okay, so JC's actually made a video about this, and a lot of people took her side. So I feel bad setting the record straight, but I will tell the truth. So
It's coming out today.
So JC and I were actually at UCT in the same time. We were both in like the arts faculty, but she was becoming an epic filmmaker. In fact, and I will give you credit for this, JC, because you make me. She was at UCT Radio on the breakfast show, and she quit to focus on her filmmaking 1 month before I signed up to UCT Radio. And then I signed up to UCT Radio, and they realized that I thought a lot about things, and they were like, don't you want to do content production on breakfast? So Jesse literally got the seat, left it open for me, and then went and made films.
Had you met at this
Never
point?
met. And throughout the whole of UCT, we never met, not even a single time. And then, and this is where it gets, okay, this is what I want to say.
Yeah.
Not all direct messages are DMs. Now, men, follow me. Follow me.
Take notes, gents. Take notes, gents. We're dealing with a professional.
So, sometimes you can send somebody a message without romantic or sexual intent.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the one day, it was like, I think 2016 or whatever, I was on Instagram and I saw this music video, beautiful music video. I thought the song was fine, but the music video was very beautiful.
Yeah.
So now I look and I see, at JC's in, she made it, whatever. So then I just literally sent her a message, and I have scrolled back 7 years so that I can prove that I'm right. Yeah, right. It was like an hour and a half. I got repetitive strain. And it just said, hey, we don't know each other. I just want to say, amazing music video. I thought it was beautiful. Have a lovely Sunday. That was it. There was no fish, chat, you know?
Yeah.
So then she says, oh, thank you so much. It's so nice to know that people see your work. And I said, great, lovely. And then we don't talk for like 2 years or something like that, right?
But a seed has been planted.
Yeah,
As you say, they may not be talking, and it may not sound romantic to everybody, but it's very romantic to me. How many wives were on the hay? We don't know. We don't know. Anyway, continue.
So then we jump all the way to COVID. And it was a bizarre situation because I was a Kakpraat radio presenter, but I was also an essential service worker because someone had to go on the radio and fight the fake news.
We were there. We were
So
there.
I didn't have a driver's license, and so I had to ride to work every day. But it was like a dream for me because I ride bikes. I've been riding bikes since I was 2.
Like now it's like
You get the
I'm
whole
Legend.
city.
Yeah.
Yours.
It was
It's
I'm
the whole
Legend.
city. You
It
get
was
to
I'm
ride
Legend.
around Cape Town with nobody in it. It's like a fantasy that will never happen again
Yeah.
for anybody.
Please, Lord, don't let it.
Yeah, I know. So it was me and the military basically on the streets, and I was riding and I was videoing my rides because so people could watch this crazy thing. JC was in America. And she saw my Instagram story. She was missing home, whatever. And so she texted and we started DMing back and forth. And we DM and we DM and we DM and we DM and we DM. I end up at 5. We DM and we DM and we DM. She gets movies into a bunch of prestigious festivals. She's still at America. DM, 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 DM. And then eventually, I fucked up. But eventually, eventually, she comes back. For like a month maybe.
Yeah.
I was just about to go to 5 and she posts a photo of herself in a pool in a lekker bathe or whatever on Instagram stories. I don't know if it's for me, but it's there. So then I sent her a message be like, oh, you in Cape Town? She says, yeah, just for a few weeks. And I was spiraling so badly because I didn't know if 5 was going to happen or not. I was like in like the worst mental health of my life. So I said, good luck with that.
That is what they call. There are books written for sleaze bags called negging.
No, it's bad fumbling. I wasn't negging.
That is negging on a
No, it's not negging.
No.
That is
It didn't even cross my
negging.
mind to ask her for a coffee. And she
Ladies, if
apparently-
you post a bikini top and you essentially get a thumbs up, you are being negged.
No, but it's worse. I started the conversation. She said, yes, I'm in Cape Town just like
Negging.
you.
And
And
you
I
didn't
was
even
like,
ask.
Oops.
no, but I wasn't negging. It didn't even cross my mind. I was sitting
Anyway.
sitting in my underwear on my parents' couch hoping 5 would call me.
Yeah.
Like I was going through the
Yes.
worst. So JC apparently gets this message, turns to a friend and says, look at this dumb motherfucker.
I can imagine.
Then
Bruh.
Yeah.
didn't see it.
Press block.
Didn't see
Rejection. Rejection.
So
Full
then-
body condom. Come on.
She is in a bikini. You are in your underwear on your mother's bed. And you say,
Anyway, it worked.
It
No, it
didn't-
worked.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
it wasn't a strategy. It didn't even occur to me. I was such a mess. I was really not going outside because I just wanted 5 to happen, and it was unclear whether it was going to happen for like a month. So then JC goes back to America to complete.
So you
her-
don't even see her through
No.
this because you worried about 5 and you're
Doesn't matter.
stressed
Doesn't
in your
matter.
She
She
goes
underwear.
went
back-
out in the
She
end.
goes back
Okay.
to America to complete her degree.
Yeah.
It was actually to return some equipment that she wasn't supposed to bring to South Africa, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Because she was at Stanford because she's lekker smart.
Oh,
really
very
smart.
nice.
So then eventually she comes back from America and I'm in Cape Town at the same time as her for a 5FM, like a vaccination drive
yeah.
thing. And so eventually I like we'd been talking every day, all the time, relentlessly. And so
even
like,
after the thumbs up.
But it gets so much. She treated me. She was strong. She was strong. So a week before she's coming back from America, we're texting. I'm walking in Delta Park. I'm just trying to be relaxed, or whatever. She's getting a COVID vaccine thing.
Yeah.
So she's in America. We're texting, and then we're talking about like red flags or like causes for concern in life. And she just out of the blue texts me. She says, "I don't know if I should be concerned about the fact that I'm spending so much time talking to a guy I've never met." Now Dan's in Delta Park walking in circles, just circles, because she's addressed the elephant in the room.
Yes.
So I essentially say to her, listen, I've had feelings for you for the longest time, which was true. But I just never knew. There was no point saying it. Somebody's far away, what, different country, COVID, whatever. And she essentially said same. And then she came back and we met up on the beach on a Sunday, and that was that. And that's like nearly 3 years ago.
That is the best story ever.
I made so many mistakes.
No, but you know what it is? You know what it is? This story is not testament to DMs. This story is testament only to this. Once a woman has decided it's you, you can try and run, my friend. You can try whatever, but once she's decided it's you and she's locked on, you can mess up so many times. My wife, the reason we went on the first date was because she sent me a message a text, and I quote, I'm going to leave a part of the quote that she doesn't like me quoting out.
Okay.
But the quote essentially said, how much flirting does a girl need to do before a man will take her out for coffee these days?
Mad.
because she
That's good.
decided.
Yeah, I hear
She
you.
decided, and it didn't matter how many times I'd messed up. She decided, this woman supports you. How does that add to your happiness?
Totally. I mean, it's just on that, I didn't see the wood from the trees. So I wasn't running. I was just an idiot.
No,
No, I know. I was the same guy.
You don't see, guy.
I would have never
Sometimes.
ended up with my wife if she didn't make the first move on me.
but that's a compliment, because then we all believe that these women are out of our leagues and we didn't want to
Yes,
embarrass
completely.
ourselves.
Facts.
And these were pipe dreams.
Yeah.
Guys, we need to think more of ourselves. We are gorgeous. Look at us, in demand.
We are pipe dreams.
Come on, let me pull in my stomach. Let me actually give myself a chance out here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, Jesse and I make each other really happy. And it's really important because we both lead extremely unusual lives.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm on the radio every morning. I'm performing all the time. I'm, like, creating 8-9 shows a week at the moment across different,
Mad.
shows. And Jessie is a filmmaker, so she will work for 3 months on an incredible film, but she will be in the edit there 8 a.m. to
Married
10.
to the
Yeah.
film.
Like
Yeah.
because nothing else exists in that period. Or she actually recently just did this amazing job, and that job will come out because she's also a commercials director. So that job will come out of nowhere, and then that's 3 weeks of her life. And I have found, and she has found, and we didn't know this from the texting. So I think we were very lucky because things became clear about our compatibility once we started dating, when we were in the same place. But like, we're both equally obsessed with our work, fulfilled by it, and also run ourselves into the ground. And so we both need someone else who understands that, so that we have the same expectations.
100%.
That we need to be able to work to death. We need to have downtime, recovery time, make space for each other, keep each other accountable to healthy everyday living routines, because
Yes,
often the routine
yes.
falls apart,
Yeah.
and you need someone to go, why haven't we walked this week, Dan? Or Jesse, please eat more than one meal today, or whatever.
And not just 2-minute noodles.
Yeah. She had that yesterday.
Yeah. No, I know filmmakers. I know.
Yeah, so I just think that in some core ways we deeply understand each other. And then the last thing is we are both massive fans of each other's
I was
work.
gonna.
Huge fans of each other's work.
That's
How
where it started.
important is that? Because
Massive.
you obviously said to I'm a fan up front. That was the first DM.
Yeah.
Was I'm a fan. You've been a fan. But I don't think it happens where two people are obsessed with what they do. I don't think the relationship survives if you're not fans of each other.
Especially when it's something like performance or creativity front facing. Because sure, you cannot be a fan of your partner if they're a lawyer, but you
Yeah.
don't see them do the law. So
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
work.
it's
You know
okay.
what I mean? But it's incredibly important. And what it also means is that you get a voice who that voice is fighting for you, your partner. But you also, if you can trust them to say that's good, that's not.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
important to your creative process, because
Yes.
you guys know that being creative means fighting with the worst self-doubt and self-loathing. Sometimes you write a joke, day one it's the funniest thing,
Yeah.
day two
You
you
hate
wish
it.
you'd never said it because you think
Yeah.
you're an idiot,
You
to
hate
destroy
it.
your career or whatever. And it's just amazing because I'm such a fan of Jessie's work. Her films are incredible. And I also think it would be really hard to be with someone who is so creative, work-centered, whose work I didn't like.
Yeah.
Because then you do a lot of lying. And you
'Cause
just
they-
can't
Yeah.
build a
Yeah.
relationship on
Not
that shit.
sustainable.
If Jessie didn't like my radio shows, it would be tricky.
Yeah.
Not because I'd be affronted, but because how do you have that relationship?
Awkward.
Yeah.
We call it
How do you
an
have-
auction. We call it. We if we in our WhatsApp groups, if something is awkward, you'll just go bye. That's what it is.
funny. That's funny.
literally what it is.
That's funny.
Man, this has been so refreshing. We unfortunately have to get to a wrap up. Nick, I don't know if you want to add anything before we go into the scales of
No,
happiness.
so I was just gonna say, in terms of the liking your partner's creativity, I feel like it's that auction thing. It just makes it weird.
Yes.
'cause how do you talk about? Oh, so what did you do today? And then you,
Totally.
no, I was on the radio. Didn't you hear?
Yeah. Oh no, the load shedding. Yeah, I'm sure you were great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
really
I
like
mean-
that part where you were quiet. I really enjoyed that part where you didn't, where you
That
stopped
was
talking.
amazing.
Jessie in general can just say, I mean, she's never done this, and I never expect her to listen.
Yeah.
But if she wanted to, she could just say, "Why did you play that Taylor Swift song again?" Because no matter what happened on the show, that will be true.
yeah.
I will have played a Taylor Swift song, and I'll go, "Sharp, yeah, that's fair."
You got
That's
me.
fact.
Yeah.
Our belief and our understanding, and I think it came through in so many ways today, that we've got some basic principles and basic pillars for happiness. The first is acceptance. accepting who you are, what you are, where you are.
Totally.
The second is gratitude, and it's I think that you spoke a lot about just those simple joys.
Small, yeah.
And just
Totally.
finding joy everywhere. And I think existing in a space of gratitude allows you to do that. But if you haven't accepted, it's impossible to be grateful.
Yeah, for sure.
And the last one is optimism, in terms of how optimistic are you about the rest of your life. So rate it on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very low, 5 being the highest possible. In terms of acceptance, where are you?
Acceptance of myself? Probably, I don't know if it's because I'm 30, I'm old now, but like 5 probably. But that's specifically because in my relationship, I feel seen and valued and loved for who exactly I am.
Yes.
That's really important. Even Yoshi must forgive me for some things, but
Yeah.
we know that it's
No,
Dan,
but we
so-
accept. That's
Yeah. No, that's what happens.
And career-wise, I would have given you like maybe a 3 or maybe like a 3.5 to a 4 answer before the issue and the online stuff. Because it was Jesse who told me, you're frustrated because you're not talking about the politics in your work. Just fucking get over yourself and do it. And it was her knowing that, which is why I'm here and all the things. So like for work, like really what I'm doing now is my most fulfilled version of myself. So yeah, I'd say 5 for acceptance.
We can feel it. I love watching you.
Thanks,
I'm obsessed, and I don't watch any other political
to do with
analysts at the moment.
politics.
I
Thanks, dude.
scroll through them, and if there's a topic, I wait for you to address it. I don't listen to their stuff
Just
only
text
because
me if you want to know about something.
No, 100%. No, it's also just because I trust you. I trust that
Sure.
you're not speaking to give anybody an advantage, but South Africans.
Yeah,
You know what I mean. So love that. Gratitude.
4. There's one more thing that I really need to get. So I'm going to say 4, and then I'm going to be the happiest man on
It's a
earth.
ring.
Can you tell us what
it's
the
a
thing
ring,
is?
Jesse.
Yeah.
It's a ring.
Yes.
He's waiting to get. That's
Yes.
the one thing.
Yes.
It's a ring.
Yes, he's waiting for you to arrange the production crew for the wedding.
Yeah. He's
And
gonna
this-
DM you.
Yeah, and
A
for-
thumbs
for
up
you
when
I
to-
he's
want a
got it.
KFC wedding, Jesse.
Yes, and he's not joking. He wants
Yeah.
buckets of chicken.
Yeah, but I'd say
Buckets
4.
of chicken.
I'd say 4.
Okay, you don't want to tell us what that one thing is?
Nah.
Because now Jesse's
worth
gonna
asking.
believe it's a ring. Every
No, worth-
time you tie
worth-
your shoes, and be
Worth,
like, hey,
worth
eh?
asking. Worth
No,
asking.
it's
And
4. Well, I mean, I'll tell you guys in the parking lot
Okay.
afterwards.
done.
Okay.
Fair enough. Optimism.
I'm a very hopeful person. I'm like hardwired a very hopeful person because terrible things happen in the world.
Yeah,
But
all the time.
But like if you like, firstly, every single one of the 9 billion people on earth has got sources and reasons for richness and optimism and hope and good. Secondly, because as awful as the world is right now in so many ways, it is still and day by day is the best time to be alive as a human.
Yeah.
By every measure. It's the
facts.
most peaceful our species has ever been. It's the most fulfilled and resource rich, healthiest, 100%. So I think I'd probably say from like a hope and optimism, I'd say 4, only because the election is now.
So I'm glad you ended there because you're the only person that I can ask this. So now I ask you on behalf of all South Africans, where's your optimism? Where should we be as a country right now? Personally, I'm on like a 2.
Really?
I'm on
Okay.
I'm on like a 2, just because it's very difficult for me to see it being fixed in my earning lifetime. Maybe once I've
see.
retired,
I see.
but in the next 22 to 30 years, I think we've got a lot of down,
Okay.
and not as much up until we all kind of get together and have the power. Where are you?
I was at a 3 in December, and now today of recording is 29 Feb.
Yeah,
5, and I'll tell you why.
please.
Because in all of our struggles as a country in the last 15 years have been a combination of a failing government and a self-interested, uncaring ruling party, along with other political parties that haven't been able to convince South Africans to vote out a failing
Absolutely.
government. Right?
No options.
That should say something.
100%.
But for the first time in our modern history, South Africa on the 29th of May looks like we may make a bunch of choices, which will, for the first time, remove the ANC from a 50+1 majority And it was looking maybe until, ironically, and I'm not saying anything about my feelings of Jacob Zuma, but the MK party's last 3 by-elections, there was one last night, they got 28% in Mpumalanga. And there are a bunch of new political parties with offering radically different propositions. And so I think, in fact, I know that this 2024 vote is going to be a change vote, which will be unlike any election result we've ever seen, and will probably mean that different parties have to work together to rule, which immediately creates complications if you want to be corrupt, immediately creates incentives to parties who are in those ruling coalitions to perform well, because if you sign on as an ANC coalition partner, that's your reputation on the line.
100%.
And it might change the dynamic where, for the first time in modern South African history, maybe politicians will start to feel accountable to the people for their performance. So I'm not saying that will happen, because look, I guarantee you that we're at a cliff face.
Yes.
I'm not going to tell you whether we're going to fall or fly, but we're at a cliff face, and there's
Something
going to be
something
change.
big is going to change
And
now.
do you know what's delicious is that South Africans just want to fucking change.
That's it.
We just
That's
want
it.
something new. So that's what I hope.
Something new and electricity.
So my belief is a lot of South Africans are going to be in my position, where you're still not 100% sure who to vote for, and I honestly think in those positions you have to vote.
Agreed.
But sometimes you have to make a strategic vote in order to affect change, and it may not be voting with your heart. Where are you voting?
I am going to look at all of the political parties, and I'm going to make a vote. And I'm not opting out of the answer. I'm going to give you a real answer.
No, your dad's a lawyer.
Because you see, I was doing I was doing the media thing. I'm not voting for anyone.
Dean of law. That's a Dean of law answer there. There you go.
But some things are very important to consider. One, if you vote for this party, how will they use your vote after the election?
Okay.
Because that's the last time we get to give feedback.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then, if you're going to vote for a party and you really don't want X party to be in power, you can't vote for a party that might work with that party. One.
Yeah.
Two, if you're going to vote for a party, you need to think not just about the person who's the face, but the whole party. Because in South Africa, you elect a team. And sure, a team can have Lionel Messi, but some of those Argentinians were cuck, guys.
Yes, yeah. Terrible.
That won that
Messi
World
doesn't
Cup.
get the ball, he can't do anything.
Horrible.
So you've got to understand that if you vote for a party, you're voting for a team. And so you need to consider the team before you vote. And so I'll be looking at that. And then the third one is definitely track record. If a party has failed to fulfill election promises, you got to go, well, why do you think they'll be different this time? So I don't know who I'm voting for yet, but those are the 3 things.
If you are cuck at your job for 4 years,
Get out.
your boss doesn't call you into your performance appraisal and say, we're going to just try you for
one more
another
time.
4 years.
And we'll give you a bonus and maybe a promotion.
So think about your vote.
Yeah.
It matters. Think about your vote. It matters. Thank you for sharing some of your happiness with us.
Guys, this was such... can I just say quickly, this is such a great concept. Like this show, this concept is so great, and I adore you both and what you guys have built beyond this show. So I'm very happy to be here.
Only love. Please keep saying yes when we call you.
Yeah.
No, I will. I'm in a Goliath and Goliath production, guys. I've made it. This is like the Order of Ikamanga where I come from.
Yeah,
This is big.
we receive Nicholas and I have no idea.
This is emeritus. This is emeritus.
Yeah,
You've reached
I'm
that
normally a
emeritus level.
double cheeseburger guy when I order. I don't order Ikamanga. But
It's the highest civilian honor a South African be
oh
given.
yes,
Yeah.
we are Ikamangari. We receive that.
In
We
the
receive
Ikamangas.
that.
What did you just before we close? Because you said you were a little bit nervous, not nervous, but excited about the podcast. How much do you think about your happiness? Like on a day-to-day, actually just focus on your happiness.
I spend a lot of years thinking about it because I have been diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and I've been on antidepressants, and I still am, and anti-anxieties. So I've thought about it a lot, and that's why I was thinking so much about the podcast, because there are a lot of things that I would say about happiness. We've said a few of them, like everyday delights, like purpose, like routine and that. But in some ways, and this is actually really important, in some ways, humans are chemicals in a chunk of flesh.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are humans where the chemical imbalance is just not good.
Yeah.
And certain pills can help that.
100%.
So I'm one of those people where a very small amount of antidepressant changes my life and has changed my life and saved my career. Like absolutely saved my career and made me who I am. And that's fine. So I think it's really, really important to remember that there are some people where that just is necessary and it's really good for you.
I think we need to spend more time talking about that, because I fight with people all the time and go, it's easy to see a broken leg and empathize with a broken leg. and create a space for you and create accessibility for you because
Right.
your leg is broken.
Right.
But if you don't have a chemical imbalance, it is nearly impossible to empathize and relate to
You
somebody
can't understand.
somebody who does. And even if you start opening your mind to doing it, what frustrates me deeply is you go, I'm on an antidepressant, so you take your pill and somebody goes, okay, so you're feeling better now.
Of course not.
It's over now.
Because then it's still normal life, right?
So then I'm
Yeah.
like, to get to a point where it's literally like your leg is amputated, you're learning to live with a disability.
Exactly.
It's forever. It's forever you're managing this thing. Yes, you can make your life easier with ramps and a special car and
Yeah,
a
for
whatever,
sure.
whatever.
For sure.
But the leg never grows back. You can put a
Right.
prosthetic on, but there'll still be things. And I don't think we give mental health and mental well-being the same respect that we do
Yeah.
to physical.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's just a natural thing. But I absolutely agree with you, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. Go and figure out what your chemical situation is,
Yes.
and manage your chemicals accordingly, and be prepared for it to be an ever ongoing
Totally.
thing. It's because your body's going to change all the time, which means what your body likes and doesn't like is going to change all the time. And find yourself a circle that understands that sometimes it's not you,
Totally.
sometimes it's the chemicals.
And sometimes you go through periods in your life when you need something. So like I need to take anti-anxieties to do live performance for 3 hours to the whole country every morning because you shit yourself.
Yeah.
Like you could
No, you
say
don't understand.
you could say anything, guys. I don't walk in there with a script and read from Microsoft Word like
No.
some radio
Yeah.
presenters do. Like I
We can hear
100%.
them.
Yes.
But like sometimes you just need to handle it for that period of your life, and then you're fine again. And then the last thing I want to say is, even if you like don't want to do the chemical stuff, or maybe you don't have a chemical imbalance, go to fucking therapy, because genuinely, I would say this to any country in the world, but South Africa has a strong argument to be the most traumatized nation in history because of apartheid and because of colonialization before it. And even for the whites who benefited from apartheid,
Absolutely.
we were also not as badly fucked up, but in different ways, we were also fucked up by apartheid. We were trained to fear 95% of South Africans like they wanted to kill us, Swart
Do you
Gafar,
know
right?
how little brown South Africans how little context we have of that? I read Rassi's book the other day.
You were born and raised
And
to
I was-
fear black people.
It was such a simple thing where the
Dude.
O said, no, but nobody told me why they lived there and we lived here.
100%.
And nobody ever told me what happens there.
And so we have a solid argument to still be the most traumatized nation on earth. Go to therapy. That's how you deal with trauma.
And on that note, that's why you should watch The Happiness Economy with Nicholas and Jason Goliath and the great Dan Corder. Dan Corder, we wish you nothing but the best, my friend. You are an important voice, and we will do whatever we can to protect that voice.
Sure,
You can
thank
call on us whenever you need. We are not just funny, but we can fight.
And Kate and Jason are also gingers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's like a
Just.
crew.
They prayed for me. I've grown out of it.
Yeah. His gingers
Hands
turned
have been
grey.
laid.
That used to all be
Hands-
red. Now it's
hands
grey.
have been laid.
Guys,
Yeah.
this was such a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for
Loved
coming
having
on,
you,
bro.
bro. Yes. Yes.
That was
That was
dope.
really such a wonderful
Yes.
conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.